How do you find your purpose? Where is it? How do you even go about discovering it? So, I'm going to give you a very brief version of my trajectory towards finding my purpose, towards discovering it, towards identifying it. And really, it is seeing the gifts that I have as a human being and acknowledging that I have natural inclinations towards certain spaces, towards certain types of jobs, towards certain kinds of people. And to hear and to kind of weave together those hunches in order to get clearer about what it is that I'm good at, what it is I love doing, what it is that I can share with the world. And so I'll take you back all the way to my junior high years, or even my elementary school years. One of the things that I really loved doing was volunteering. I loved volunteering and I loved being in new spaces and meeting lots of different people and listening to them and listening to their stories about life. I was just like a sponge. Like I wanted to learn about other people's life experiences and also know, why did they choose to have that job, or why did they choose to have that adventure? Like I was just a super curious child. And moving into middle school, I remember we had a school event and they needed volunteers for the construction committee. And so I totally raised my hand. I'm like, oh, I want to build stuff. And so I attended the construction committee. I think I was the only female there, but I loved it because I was working with my hands and we were building like these posts for this school event. And then moving further into the future, I ended up signing up to be a student representative for my high school class. And then I continued to do that in the Peace Corps, in grad school. And so there's this thread of service and volunteerism in my life, in my own life. And then there's also this thread of being super curious about people. Like I love listening to people's stories and I love hearing and identifying what it was that motivated them to choose the path that they chose. I'm just curious because I'm like, oh, how did you choose to become a doctor? How did you choose to become a lawyer? Because during that time in my life, I was making that decision. Do I want to become a doctor? Do I want to become a lawyer? Or what do I want to become? And so with that curiosity, I developed like this skill of just asking good questions. And little did I know that what I was doing throughout my life, like this thread of experience, from volunteering as, a fourth grader for student representative all the way out through, graduate school at Georgetown. My essence has always been the same. I've always been curious. I've always wanted to volunteer. I've always wanted to learn about people. And after a few jobs and a few life experiences, stumbling upon this industry, this coaching industry, I'm like, oh, this is something that I can do. This is something that I can do for a living that really taps into what I love. And that's how I discovered my purpose for the world. I love the work that I do because I get to be a student for life. I get to help people on their own journey to understand what they love doing and what they want to pursue in their personal life or the professional life. And I get to be creative. I get to be creative in these videos. I get to be creative in my podcasts. I get to be creative in my workshops, in my retreats, with my coaching clients. And so for you, how do you find it? How do you find your purpose? A lot of it has to do with reflecting on and identifying what you really enjoyed as a child. What did you just naturally move towards? What were you curious about? And then pinpointing, those experiences in your career, in your personal life that really just lit you up, that really brought you a lot of joy, a lot of energy. Like identify those moments in your life that brought you so much energy, so much good energy. And from there, you can start to see that there lies your gifts. There lies your natural inclinations. For some of you, it may be building things. For others of you, it may be designing things. For some of you, it may be like numbers and like figuring out puzzles. Everyone is intelligent, and everyone has multiple kinds of intelligences. Like we're intelligent in different ways. And so it's up to you to really identify what it is that you just enjoy doing. You just love it. And then from there, figuring out how you can incorporate that into your daily life so that you're able to live purposefully with the things that come natural to you, with the things that, that light you up. Because when you put those two things together and you're able to live out your everyday with that purpose in mind, it's, life gets so much more exciting and fulfilling and satisfying, because you know that you're living in alignment with who you are and what you're doing and how you're showing up in the world. If I wasn't doing this work, I probably would be a college professor or some type of teacher somewhere, where I'm engaging with people. But ultimately, as you are trying to figure out what is your purpose, really identify and reflect on your past. What have been the things that you were naturally drawn to? What do you just naturally enjoy doing? And then start to weave in that, weave in a vision of like, well, how can you take those experiences and make them something new today? What can you pursue today that would allow you to express that part of yourself, that would allow you to explore even more what could be a potential or a possibility for you? So that's how I've been able to really identify what my gifts are, is to look at my past and to look at those experiences in my life that have really, really brought me energy. And so for you, this can be an exercise of doing the same, figuring out what were those things in your youth, and what were those experiences throughout your life that have really brought you a lot of energy. And then now at this stage, figuring out, well, what spaces or what kinds of activities can you do that will allow you to live those out, to express that part of you. All right, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, and I can't wait to see you next week. Remember to be bold, be positive, and take action every day.